coming back at y'all with another episode of the Major Music Lounge. It's your boy D Dot, and today on the Major Music Lounge podcast, we're going to have an artist from Chicago by the name of Rudy G on to discuss his latest project, the Skywriting EP. And we're going to also talk about his journey creating music and more. If this is your first time checking out the Major Music Lounge podcast, we usually talk to other independent artists like we're going to talk to tonight, as well as other music producers, music industry professionals, and more. And if you'd like to tap in with me, you can find me on Instagram at d._major music, as well as on Twitter, or formerly known as X, d.mme. And then I'm actually d.major music on TikTok and Threads as well, for any people that use Threads. I'm actually not on Facebook, so you won't find me there, but any of those other platforms you can reach me on. So we'd love to hear from music creators, actually music production app developers, sound designers. Maybe you have placements as well within the music industry for like a major artist, or in the television and film space, and you'd like to come on and talk about your journey there. We would definitely love to have you on the Major Music Lounge podcast. And then content creators, whether you're an artist or a producer, would love to also have you on the Major Music Lounge podcast as well. Now, without much further ado, let's get into the interview. I'd like to welcome y'all to another edition of the Major Music Lounge podcast. It's your boy D Dot, along with Rudy G out of Chicago. What's good, my brother?
Yo, what up, man? Thanks for having me on here.
No problem at all. Definitely a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And we connected about maybe a week ago or so. And I listened to some tracks, and here we are a week later doing this podcast. And it's first and foremost, I put those posts out there, looking for new guests every, so often. So thank you for, replying to that. And I think it's a great networking tool, at least, doing a lot of these episodes. I've gotten a chance to talk to, a lot of artists, like your episode, I think 92 or 93. But that's how many creators, and I take a little bit from everybody, just different perspective. And just kind of looking forward to the conversation we're about to have. So definitely a pleasure.
Yeah, that's good. That's great to hear. I've watched quite a few of these, so it's good to be a part of it.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. You're an artist. Do you produce too?
So I originally started off making beats, kind of got out of the beats, and then now I'm wanting to get back into it and do addition to rhyming. I just kind of feel it's two and two, and I like having the ability to control the beats that I'm getting, because you never know. Some of these
Yeah.
producers are willing, some of them aren't.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a producer artist as well, as you saw. But like, you're right, man. It's like, if I don't make my own beats, well, pretty much I would say 90% of my beats that I make, that you hear on these records. But like, outside of that, there's one producer I work with. Shout out to Rook One, who's also from your neck of the woods, by the way. But
Oh,
shout
okay.
out to Rook One. And he's produced on some of my solo albums, and me and him actually done two collab out. Well, we did one collab album, and we got another one coming out very soon as well. But I mean, outside of that, there's maybe one other guy, Kaleem Beats, he's out of Carolina, but that's really the only other guys that I've rapped over some of their beats. And yeah, it's nothing like just having that idea and that concept in your head and getting to, your studio and laying it out, man. And, even then, sometimes I just like to go in, go through the sounds, press the keys a little bit and see what, we can come up with. So, I try to make a beat at least daily. Now, yourself, like, what do you use, or what did you used to use to make your beats?
So back in the day, I used to use Acid Music, if you're
Oh
familiar with
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I used it to make the loops. And so then
Okay.
what I started getting into towards the end, I started off using what they supplied you with. But then towards the end, I started getting into where I was figuring out I could sample, little beats of parts of tracks, speed it up, and do all sorts of things. And like, right, I kind of feel I did myself an injustice because I kind of stopped when I was getting hot. And it was kind of an attitude thing because I got mad that everybody was hitting me up for beats and not asking me to rap on their songs.
Yeah, yeah. Man. That Sony Acid. So like when I first started learning how to make beats, and this I'm talking about '03, maybe '04, also around that time. That was one of the first apps or programs that I tried to use. That was back when you could have cracked a lot of these music production programs, and then I moved on to like Reason 3, and that's really when I learned how to make beats. But yeah, Sony Acid, that kind of brought back some memories. I used to spend hours just trying to figure it out, and I could never. It wasn't until I got to Reason is when I finally figured it out. So, how long have you been? Yeah, go ahead.
And that was the hard one too, is that everybody was using like Reason and Cakewalk and all that, and I was embarrassed to tell them that I was using Acid. Like I was even hesitant right now when you said that. I'm like, I'm gonna say this, and he's gonna laugh at me.
Nah, nah. So I'll give you another one. Like there was a program, and I still remember it was around the same time, around the early 2000s. And I used to work at Best Buy around that time. And we used to have this bin full of like random software, like being anywhere from 10 to I think like $30. And I found this disc that is called Magic's Music Studio. And I popped it in and it was very limited. Like it just was basically you would put these loops together and come up with something. You couldn't even play your own drums or your own melodies. So uh that's kind of what I started off on, and then came Sony Acid and then Reason and so on and so forth. But yeah, I feel you. Like, I mean, years ago, I remember like when everybody it was cool to have an MPC and you would tell certain people, you know what you're making beats on, and kind of look at you like, well, you need to step it up and get an MPC. And
Yeah,
yeah, now I look back being older now, like I tell these young guys, make or create music on whatever you have. You know, because at the end of the day, can't anyone listen to the radio or listen to Apple Music or Spotify and they're like, oh, well, this was made in Reason, this was made in Logic. Nobody can do that. So just, whatever gets the job done, go ahead and use it.
yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, and I even got a feature where there was a rapper down in Florida. I don't know whatever happened to him. His name was Double D. Shout out to him if he's watching. I haven't talked to him in years.
Yeah.
He had an opportunity where he was on this thing called the Local Love Show, and he used one of my beats, and it was played on the radio. I didn't have anything licensed or copywritten back then. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. Now it would be a whole different story. But back then, I mean, I had one radio credit to my name as a producer, also or a beat maker, and so that was pretty cool. I felt really good about that. I had it on a CD. I used to play it for everybody,
Where,
but it wasn't me. And so I'd play it, and they say, "Oh, is that you?" I say, "No, it's not me." And it just got to the point as well. Don't you rap? And then that was again crushing my dreams with the beats and just wanting to be a rapper. And so now I can do both.
yeah, yeah, I feel you on that too. I remember there were certain guys that would hit me up for just beats, and I'm like, you can hit me up for a verse too. But after a while, I just kind of like, hey, as long as you're paying me for the beats, it's all good. I'll make 100 of them as long as you're paying me. So, you know, that's all we gonna do. Now moving on, like I remember or listening, I listened to the Skywriting EP, and I would say like out of all the, I thought the album itself was or the EP itself was fire, but like my favorite joint was Gotta Love It. And I also like Rise as well. And tell us a little bit now, is that out or is that coming out very soon?
So it'll be out April 5th. So that'll be out available on all the streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere. I'm gonna also get CDs pressed up and all that. So yeah, it'll be all over the place starting April 5th.
Okay. What's the concept behind the album or behind the EP? Like, do you, well, first, like, is this your first release or, have you been, how long have you been creating music?
So my first actual album I put out back in '08. It was called High Society. And so then since then I've had some kind of setbacks happen. I was also in a group setting where we were doing a group projects and all that. And so I've only come out with mixtapes since then. And
Okay.
so that was fun, but now it was time to start working on an actual project. And then what happened was, not to get too personal, but I had some issues with my teeth. I had to get a root canal, and then it led to another root canal, and all the money that I had saved for studio time, recording and all that, buying beats and all that, was ended up given to the dentist.
Yeah, man, that
And so it
sucks,
set me
man.
back. And then I finally got back on track, started writing. I recorded more than, there's 5 tracks on there. I recorded about 8 songs on there. 3 of them weren't used because I just always feel you got to record more music than what you're going to put out because
Yeah.
everything you make isn't going to be good.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I mostly also do a lot of EPs. I felt like I've been more successful like with shorter albums and though I might, it might be a 5 to 7 track EP, but I end up recording at least 12, maybe 15 tracks. And I might just decide, okay, I'm gonna roll with these 5 or 7 tracks, and the rest of them, maybe I'll put them on another project. Maybe I'll just am not satisfied with the song, so I'll just put the beat up online for like on sale. But I definitely feel you. I think it's great. Then I mean, you might even end up liking, if you record 12 tracks, you might end up liking all of them. So yeah, it's better to record more tracks. Don't ever just settle for, a certain amount that you may want to go with an album, like I was saying, the 7 tracks, but you never know what could come out of those other tracks. So tell us a little bit about, just the concept behind skywriting.
So the concept of skywriting is I was doing a lot of traveling at the time. We were going to a lot of different places. I went to Spain, Italy, Mexico, Mexico, all sorts of places. And while I was in the air, I was listening to these beats and I was writing to these beats. And I was like, all right, that's kind of a cool concept. And I like to smoke. So I was like, all right, so it's kind of two and two together where it's like the skywriting. I know it's not things that are done anymore. I have some people that I told about it, and they're like, "That hasn't been done in 50 years or whatever." But it's still a cool concept, and that's really what it means. It's not about actually going up in the sky and writing messages. It's just about me being on airplanes writing
Yeah.
music.
I think, when I listen to Gotta Love It and you mentioned you like to smoke, that's why I like that track, I guess.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to make those tracks like that. I've had a lot of success with like the stoner style rapping about weed and
Yeah.
all that. I've had a lot more success with that. I feel with attributing it to the masses. That's the one songs that I noticed that I'll play those for people and everyone will like them. Other ones, you'll have varying opinions and all that. With those ones, it seems like across the board, people really like it. I had another one that I did a long time ago called So High. It's not on a streaming service or nothing. I should get it up there, but it was on that first album, High Society. If you Google it, you might be able to find it somewhere on the internet. And it was So High. And that was another one that kind of started that whole concept of making those kind of stoner records. And then I was listening to people like Devin the Dude, who's one of my favorite artists, and Dr. Dre and all that. And they all talk about smoking and all that too. And so it's not where I'm trying to like bite their style or anything, because I do feel that there is a difference with the way they would rap about it compared to where I was rapping about it. So I feel like it just kind of is something to add in addition to what they're contributing to the table.
Yeah, yeah. I've done a few stoner records as well myself. And outside of that, I may throw a bar here and there in some songs about smoking, and it's I was actually very surprised because I did a song what maybe 3 or 4 years ago called "Coasting," and that was a complete stoner song, and like I was like, people really mess with that type of shit, and that was kind of cool, and it made me want to do it more. I haven't done it too much more in terms of whole songs, but yeah, that's something I want to do more of because I just kind of like people's reaction to it, and you want to make some chill stuff that people could just vibe to as well. So I feel you on that as well. You're from Chicago?
So I'm from outside of Chicago. I'm
Okay.
from originally born in a town called Elgin, Illinois. Family moved to a town called St. Charles when I went to high school just for a better opportunity. Thought I was going to be a basketball player and all that. Didn't exactly work out that way, but I still was in, a better environment. Not that Elgin is, the projects or anything like that, but it was definitely a better opportunity at the time. Now a lot of these places have changed a lot. They've been like gentrified and all these different kind of things. So certain people you'll say that to and they'll be like, okay, cool. And then other people will say, oh, damn, back in the day, that was a crazy place. So it just
Yeah,
depends on
yeah.
who you talk to.
Yeah. I was reason I was asking is like what's the music scene like in your city? Like do you go out and do a lot of shows or maybe do they have a lot of events? Like walk us through what the music scene looks like in your city.
So for a long time, all we really had was like, from Chicago, it was just Twista, Do or Die. Those were the big acts. Then, Kanye got popular, uh, Lupe Fiasco got popular, all those kind of people like that. Now there's all sorts of people, but originally there wasn't very much attention in this area. I remember a long time ago, I was sending out stuff to unsigned hype columns, and they would say that they had been out here before, but they were hesitant to come back out to this area.
Yeah.
But now there's a lot more people who are doing it. Back in the day, there wasn't a lot of people that were doing it. There was just a very few of us. Now it's expanded. They're starting to have. There's a town, a couple towns over called Aurora, Illinois. It's one of the bigger cities in the area, and in that city, There's a place that they have major acts come to. So like this weekend, they're gonna have Fat Joe come there, and Twista's gonna be there also. And so they're starting to get major acts there. They had like the Locks there, and so what that's doing is it's bringing a lot of rappers from the city and different places to this area to all meet with each other, see each other perform, in addition to networking and all that. I haven't gotten to participated in myself yet because I've been working on this and wanted to make sure that I had all my shit ready before I'm putting myself out there because the last thing I want to do is look half-ass about anything. So I wanted to make sure that I had everything all ready. I had all my instrumentals ready. I had my performance, instrumentals ready as well. I'm able to, know these songs by heart, so I'm not going out there making a fool of myself forgetting my lyrics. Because there's been times in the past where I ended up having to freestyle because I forgot what I was going to do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Man, that is the worst on stage when you know the song. But some reason you get on stage and you're spitting and you might forget a bar or something here and there, and it just you got to get back on track. And sometimes like 'cause that's happened to me one time, and I did the same thing. I just ended up freestyling like a couple of bars, and like I remember somebody asking me like about the end of that song because I had said something I couldn't even remember what it was that I said. And I just was pretending that it was a part of the song and I played it off cool, but yeah, sometimes you gotta improvise.
Yeah,
No,
it's a remix.
yeah, it might be if somebody recording that, you might be able to make a remix, go back, reference them bars. Man, so you mentioned you was a hooper. Yeah,
Yeah,
so who's your do you watch a lot of basketball right now?
yeah, I watch everything to be honest with you. I watch basketball. So yeah, basketball, my team. Obviously gotta love the Bulls. But I like college. They play with a lot more
Yeah.
heart and soul. So that's really where I'm at. I like University of Illinois. They had that really good run years and years ago. Still like hyped on that. So I like watching them and do it. I like Wisconsin. Pretty much Big Ten. That's who I fuck with, the Big Ten up here Midwest, born
Yeah,
and
yeah.
raised. So
Man, that Illinois team, so like I was really tapped in with that team because that was the team that Darren Williams was on, right? Yeah, and
yeah, he's
he
from Tejas.
played ball out here where I'm at, and I found that out around that time because I'm not originally from here. I moved out here maybe 2, 3 years before that run they had, and everybody was talking about he played high school basketball out here, and I found that very cool. But I see him from time to time out here in Dallas, and that's pretty cool as well to see Darren Williams. But yeah, that was a real nice squad, and that ran into Florida, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, with Joe King.
Was it, yeah, was that year? I think so. Yeah, it had. I think so.
because Florida went back to back,
Yeah.
and I
Or
think
for the championship, it was against North Carolina.
yeah,
Um,
they beat them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was rough. There was a dude on there, Sean May. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
happened to
Oh,
that
oh,
guy.
I
I didn't
remember
like
that
that
team
guy.
now with Sean May, Rashad McCants.
Yeah, Marvin Williams.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. That was a good team. That
Yeah,
was a good team,
and I
man.
hated them dudes. I hated them dudes.
I hate Carolina to this day. So I like kind of like you, like I watch a lot of SEC ball. 'Cause that's kind of where I grew up. Like I like LSU when it comes to like college football. I'm from Louisiana originally, but
Okay.
like growing up, that's all we watched was SEC sports down here. Like they had this channel that played, game basketball games and baseball and football games, but like I fell in love with Kentucky basketball in the 90s because of Jamal Mashburn. And
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
out till this day, I love Kentucky basketball. So I'm waiting for the tournament and we'll see where the chips may fall.
There you go. Yeah, that's always the best time of year. I mean, even just this weekend with the conference tournaments and all that, I find myself watching that. But you can't use any of the conference tournaments and then try to use that for your bracket. At least I can't because it's never worked out for me.
No, no, it never works out. I remember like one year I did good opening week, and then the next week everything just fell apart. Yeah, I don't even think it was next week. I think it was the second round. Everything just fell apart, and that was a risk.
Yeah,
Man.
that's the worst. First day I've had that where I've gone on and that my bracket made it and then busted towards the end, or it's like first day, like last year, first day done because Purdue lost.
Oh man, I know this cat out here is he's a big Purdue fan. What do you have on tap in terms of like you have any other like music videos or shows planned or anything?
So I'm in the process right now of discussing of doing a couple shows out here in the area. One of them's at a record store. We're possibly seeing if I can do that there. Another one was just trying to attach on to someone else's show so that I could perform with them. And then I was thinking about potentially starting this all off with a live stream show, just a few people at a place that has speakers and all that and microphones, and then just doing just like a small show like that and put it on live, Instagram live, Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, all that.
Yeah, yeah, that would be kind of cool. Like I see, yeah, some of my homies, homie, in fact, I was telling you about, I don't know any spots. I want to come out to Chicago, number one. And I just want to, go to some of the music spots, check out the music scene myself. But like, it looks pretty fun in terms of like, usually they have some nice turnouts and, um, it's just something that, I never performed in another city. And I feel like, from collaborating with this producer, that would be a good place to maybe go out and definitely network. And then just, to experience it for the first time because I never really been anywhere in the Midwest or anything like that. So
Oh yeah, that's a good starting place to come. There's so much to do, so many people to meet. I know right now the news, I've lived in the city, I've lived outside of the city. Like I said, I'm originally from outside the city, but I've lived in the city too. And it's not, it's getting a bad reputation right now. You just have to be careful with everything anywhere you go. It's always been like that. It's just they're talking about it a lot more and just it makes it look like it's bad, but it's still a beautiful place to come.
yeah, yeah, that's like in the media will overdo things like that. Even like I got some homies out in Detroit and they do the same thing out there. And it's
Yeah.
like the areas that they talk about aren't the only places in that city. There are other nice spots that you can go and enjoy yourself too. And I think that's what the media gets lost in the shuffle a lot of times when they report anything on Chicago or some of these other inner cities across America. So I always think, you got to go experience some places yourself and, definitely don't go by, by yourself. You don't know where to go, but, it's good to step out and go, step out and see or be a part of another music culture. Because even I have some guys that, want to come down south and, kind of see what we're doing out here in Dallas or, H-Town and, the music scene is hot out here, and if you even yourself, man, I mean, if you're ever out here, feel free to get in contact with me, and we'll recommend some of the spots to go out and perform, or if they have something going on, I definitely would want you to be a part of that if you were out here. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, definitely. I would love to go down there and perform in a different place. I haven't had that opportunity yet myself either.
yeah, yeah. So what kind of shout outs do you have for, maybe some of the people that you work with, some of your fans? Like, you have any shout outs for anybody?
Yeah, I definitely got to shout out all my friends and family in Illinois. My boy Marco G, Adrian P, my boy Bob the Builder, can't forget him. Duran, Andy D. I mean, I could go on with some people. I don't want to forget anybody. Jim the Pimp, can't forget him. HMV. So just everybody that's been showing love and support, and it's been a very a good opportunity. I don't want to say coming back, but being on like that little hiatus that I was on from not putting out music to putting out music now, everybody's been very supportive, and that's just some of the people. And apologies if I'm forgetting anybody, but I'm sure there's more. But everybody's been very cool with everything. It's been a really dope experience to come back, so to speak. Not that I'm a major artist or anything, but just to give this another try. I didn't expect the support that I've been getting, so it's been nice.
Yeah, a lot of people, that are outside of music don't really realize, for independent artists out there, how just support, generally speaking, can go a long way. That's whether, you come out to a show, you stream an album, you stream a music video online, you repost or retweet something. And I mean, that can go a long way in terms of being able to help you grow as a creator. And similarly, I learned to, like, just focus on some of those supporters as well that kind of helped me continue to level up and end up growing my network. So definitely shout out to the supporters, man. Shout out to supporters, because where would we be without them?
Yeah,
uh
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, and then I always like to ask a question about, like, um who are, maybe, and it doesn't have to be all one or the other, but like, who are maybe three, it could be producers or artists that you would like to work with that you have not worked with?
So I would love the opportunity to work with The Alchemist. He's a
Oh,
producer.
yeah,
That
yeah,
would I think that his style, he's still doing it. I think he's somebody that he would be able to hear me rap and say, "All right, I got some shit for you. Let's do this." I would really love to work with Devin the Dude and do a weed
yeah,
song together. That would be
yeah,
really fucking dope. It would be nice to work with you as well. I
yeah.
definitely want to also, work with. And this may be just going a little bit too far out there, but I know I'm gonna have to come straight with the bars, which I know that when you're under pressure, you can do your best work. But J. Cole would be somebody that
Okay,
I would
yeah,
love working
yeah.
with.
Yeah, well, that's a great list, and we definitely will work. I listen to a lot of your material, and I would, love to work with you on, some future projects, whether that's on mine or whether that's on yours as well. And
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna definitely stay tapped in with you. And yeah, one quick thing too. Give your social media platforms, like, where are you located? Where can people find all of your music at?
So yeah, my social media it's at Rudy G Music. So at RUDYG Music. I spelled it just music. It's not MUSIK or nothing like that. And then on YouTube, it's the real Rudy G Music. Somebody beat
Okay.
me to the punch with Rudy G Music on that one. I was good with getting all my names out there with everything except for that one. And it's somebody that doesn't even post anything anymore. So shout out to them. Thanks for taking my page. But that, and then if you look me up on Spotify, you could type in right now as you're hearing this Rudy G Days Go By Fast. And then also starting April 5th, just type in Rudy G Skywriting and I'll pop up that way. There was, I'm in the process of getting my lyrics put onto the actual songs and all that on the streaming service. So I don't know, maybe one day somebody will karaoke some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Man, that I thought about doing that, but I have to go back. so many other projects. That's gonna take me some time. We'll see, maybe on future projects. We'll
Yeah,
see.
it's tough. It's a lot of work to sit back and then go and do that because sometimes you got to make sure you're putting the right things in there. Sometimes I don't even put what I'll have written. I'll say something else just in the heat of the moment and it goes with it, so I'll just leave it.
Man, best of luck on that. Um, and then, another question I always like to ask is, as far as like a music creator yourself, like, what's one thing that you've learned on the journey that has made you a better music creator?
Just networking, having that ability to network with everybody that you come across. Nobody's too big or too small. When you start thinking that way, you're limiting yourself. And so it's one of those things. Everybody that has something to contribute, you can always contribute to what they're doing. They can help you out and just getting your name out there. That's one of the best things that you can do in building a positive reputation.
Where, yeah, networking is so powerful. When I think about like some of the relationships that I built, even going beyond 5 to 10 years ago in terms of music that are still relevant today. And you know, just like you were saying, whether it's somebody that's major or whether it's somebody that's independent or underground per se, you just never know how meeting that person, picking their brain, maybe get some ideas, or it could be a project or something along those lines that you guys work on together that can bring you another opportunity. So you never know how networking can benefit you. Yeah, this has been another episode of the Major Music Lounge podcast. And you could follow me on Instagram at d._major music, as well as Twitter. I know I just call it Twitter, but our X at d.mme. And you can hear new episodes of the Major Music Lounge podcast on YouTube, as well as all podcast streaming platforms. And as I said, creators, go ahead, get at me. Always looking to interview new creators. Hit me up on one of those platforms and we'll try to make it happen. And until next time, it's your boy D Dot and Rudy G, and we're out.
Major Music.